time for Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. Featuring Chicagoland's brightest jazz stars. And now, your host, Barry Winograd.
Hello and welcome once again to Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. I'm your host, Barry Winograd, and sure glad to be back from vacation. Uncle Izzy and I had a great time, and let me tell you, I wish I'd known it was over yesterday instead of today. So I apologize for this and say thank goodness for these that Uncle Izzy gave me a pager and he said, if I ever need you, and sure enough he did. And so instead of being hostless, yes, I'm here. Yeah, we had a great time on vacation this year, and Uncle Izzy, as you can see, well, he was having a wondrous time coming up with wonderful ideas for us for the show. And he allowed me at least 15 to 20 minutes a day of vacation time myself when I wasn't transcribing out all these great ideas for Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree in the fourth year of our existence. Well, without further ado, let's get to today's band. It's a new band. It's a young band. It's a really poppin' band. It's the John Paris, Steve Thomas Quartet right here on Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. It's Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree, and we're enjoying the wondrous music of the John Paris, Steve Thomas Quartet. Guitarist John Paris, trumpeter Steve Thomas, bassist Tim Fox, Greg Fundis at the drum set. We just heard an original song called Blue Wiggle, and we're going to be back in a moment with more music and a lot more talk right here on Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. Welcome back to Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. I'm your host, Barry Winograd, and before we go any further and talk to these wonderful musicians, John Thomas, Steve Thomas, and John Paris. See, I'm been mixing them up all day because I just got back from vacation, folks, and you know we were getting ready to go. And I got to tell you, without something like this, without a pager, I would have missed a great show today. And I want to thank Uncle Izzy for paging me and reminding me it was time to go back to work. But what a great thought, because we do have the John Paris, Steve Thomas Quartet with us today. We've heard a great original tune called Blue Wiggle, and welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You brought along your recording partners in Tim Fox and Greg Fundis, and you have a wonderful new song called Forward Motion. See, I told you I'd forget it. No, I got it straight. But let me ask you, just starting with the title of Forward Motion, that was so clever. It's instead of F-O-R, F-O-U-R. Which one of you guys came up with that one?
We both kind of did. I mean,
We went through a whole bunch of titles.
Yeah?
The whole project is just such a good collaboration. I think we both came up with that. Maybe he came up with Forward Motion and I tweaked it a little bit so it actually spelled out like the Quartet
Right.
for.
So talking about projects, this is a wonderful project. You've got a lot of original tunes on there. This project, the Quartet of yours, how'd you get together? How'd you put it together? How'd you decide who writes what tunes? Or did you just have a bunch of tunes and you guys went to DePaul University at the same time? Or you sort of missed each other? How did all that work out?
Yeah. Well, we sort of missed each other at DePaul and played together several different times on, different sessions with different people. Always liked the way each other played and liked hanging out and stuff like that. So we became friends, played a lot of music together, and finally just decided, we should do a project together. I got a bunch of tunes. You got a bunch of tunes. Let's mix them up and shuffle them together and see what we get.
Well, I got to ask you, when you put the band together, you found two very talented young individuals like yourselves, and I'm not sure either of them went to DePaul or not, but how'd you hook up with Tim and Greg? I know they're heavy players on the scene at this point in time.
Actually, I knew Greg from DePaul.
Oh, okay, he was there.
And then actually, Tim also went to DePaul.
Oh,
All four
see.
of us went to DePaul, all at
Yeah.
kind of different times. But
Shows you what I know.
I was at DePaul with Greg, and John had played with Greg before that too. And he's a great player. So, and I did not know Tim actually. So John kind of introduced me to Tim, and I was impressed. So hey, that works.
Yeah. Well, your CD is full of original songs, but you also did one Thelonious Monk song, and Monk is certainly a unique individual, or was, in his writing, and You
Yeah.
captured it wonderfully on the arrangement. Was that an arrangement you found, or a bunch of different recordings of Monk's Stream that you put together into your arrangement?
No,
Actually,
that arrangement
John
I
did.
did.
Mm-hmm.
But the Monk tunes, they always work so well, and the style of CD that we came up with. I mean, there's so many different varieties of musical genres and tempos and time feels, etc. So we tweaked that a little bit. It goes to 6/8 on the bridge, and you can't lose with Monk. So
I'm looking
it fit right in.
Looking forward to hearing that a little bit later in the show. When you did decide between amongst all your thousands of songs that you guys have written, let me ask you, Steve, first of all, when you looked over your charts and you said, these are ones I'd like to bring to the band, did you think, well, this fits better with piano than guitar? Did those considerations come into your thought process?
Actually, it's been kind of worked out through other. I've been playing with John for like 5 years now, and I got so used to the sound of a pianoless quartet, just having guitar, that when I started writing, even though I write at the piano, I just hear that sound, the guitar sound. So just about everything that I wrote, with maybe the exception of one, I wrote for considering guitar being the accompanying instrument rather than piano.
And does that mean, as a musician, you take a different approach when you're writing a piece of music, when you know it's going to be a guitar chordal instrument rather than a keyboard chordal instrument?
I don't know if I took a different approach, but I mean, if I was saying I'd write this tune for piano, I don't know if I'd come up with necessarily a whole different product, but I'm definitely completely aware that the end result when it's being performed is going to be completely different than if it was a piano, and I'm expecting that when I'm writing it. So,
do you guys ever do any trio things where, for example, John, do you have any tunes where it just feels right to be a guitar trio, and so Steve can go have a drink, or or vice versa? Are there any things where you just would like just to work without chords and have a little more freedom just using the bassist behind you?
Well, it's
Steve?
usually when Steve shows up late to the gig, it turns into a trio.
it turned into a trio. But you
More
always know
often
ahead of
than
time.
not. No.
I always let you know ahead of time.
Well, I asked that question because you said, you thought a lot about how and the variety of songs and feels and flavors you put on your compact disc. So I was thinking, well, maybe you think about that on stage too. Maybe sometimes it's time for, John to just go sit at the bar for a minute, or Steve to go do what he does.
Actually, it's I mean, the CD encompasses so much variety, and you can do so much with 4 people. We like keeping it the 4 people all together and just tweaking that and modifying that as much as possible.
Oh, that's great. So you said you've been together 5 years now?
We've been playing together for that long.
Wow. Well, it's certainly come to a wonderful climax, and let's hope that you're going to continue on climaxing with this quartet. We know we're going to look forward to that. We're going to hear Waltz for Her, which was written by Steve, and Blue Wiggle was the first tune we heard. And John wrote that. And then Thelonious Monk's Dream will cap off the show.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank again John Paris, Steve Thomas,
Thank you again.
Greg Fundis, and Tim Fox for being here with us. And we're going to hear some great music coming up next on Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. It's Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree. I'm your host, Barry Winograd, and today we've had the pleasure, the privilege of enjoying the music and sounds of the John Paris, Steve Thomas Quartet. Guitarist John Paris, trumpeter Steve Thomas, bassist Tim Fox, and Greg Fundis at the drum set. We heard two originals, Blue Wiggle and Waltz for Her, and a fine arrangement of Thelonious Monk's Dream. So until next time, support live jazz. We'll look forward to seeing you out there, and we'll look forward to seeing you right back here next time on Uncle Izzy's Jazz Jamboree.
Thank you.